Last night here on NHL Network Radio sounded like a great game. Bridgeport and Hershey, the Bears winning in overtime. Nino Niederreiter, future New York Islander to be, once again, the leading scorer right now down in Bridgeport. He joins us here this afternoon. How you doing, Nino?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. Game last night, it sounded like a great hockey game. You guys come up on the short end, but boy, oh boy, you must have felt your team played fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, it was at the end of the day, it was a tough game. And a tough loss. The way we lost wasn't easy, but I think we had overall a pretty good game, but we still had a lot of turnovers, which kind of cost us the game.
Nino, tell me about your season down there in Bridgeport. As I mentioned, you're the leading scorer for the Sound Tigers right now. You've got 17 goals and 34 points in 34 games. Tell us about how you think it's gone for yourself so far this season.
I mean, after last season, it was I was trying to prepare myself very good for this season. I kind of lost a lot of confidence. But I think with what happened so far, I think I feel great on the ice. My confidence is back, and it's just fun to play more minutes, and it's just fun to be out there.
How much pressure did you feel playing for the Islanders? I mean, being a first-round pick, being a high draft pick like you were, you basically got thrown in there from the get-go. And tell us about the pressure that you felt, perhaps in stepping in so quickly.
You know, the pressure was high, but at the end of the day, I mean, I learned so much last year, and you know, so thankful that I had a chance to experience what I did last year, and I think at the end of the day, I think it helped me a lot, and now I'm trying to be the player who I want to be one day, and trying to have the role I had in the junior, and which I had in Portland Winterhawks, and yeah, that's my goal, and now I'm trying to get a step closer to that.
Do you feel like you're this time around going to be that much better for the experience in the American Hockey League here, that when the Islanders do give you your next opportunity, that you're going to maybe not be as in awe of the National Hockey League going in this season or whenever your call-up comes, Nino, that you're going to be a little bit more ready, a little bit more prepared for what the NHL has to offer?
I think so, yeah. I mean, last year was the first time I ever played pretty much any pro games, and like I said, I learned so much last year, and I think it makes a huge difference for me having already 34 games under the belt, and compared to other players who were locked out and couldn't play anywhere. I think that's definitely an advantage I have, but I mean, like I said, probably the best thing what could have happened to me right now, playing down here in the AHL, get some confidence, and now it's a waiting game until I get a call-up.
And Nino Niederreiter of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers and the New York Islanders are guest here on the Scott Laughlin Show, NHL Network Radio on Sirius XM. What is your itinerary going to look like here, Nino, in the next couple of days? I mean, have you had word that you'll be at training camp with the Islanders, or are you going to stick it out a little while longer in the American Hockey League? Has anybody from the Islanders given you some sort of direction as to what your next week or two is going to look like?
No, I have no idea what's going to happen the next couple of days. Now I'm just focusing on practice tomorrow, and then we have a game in Providence on Friday, and I think we have 3 games actually this weekend, so I'm just trying to focus on that, and whenever I get a phone call, and I guess then I will know more, but as of right now, I'm trying to prepare myself for the next game, which is going to be on Friday.
Yeah, Friday against Providence, and then back on home ice against the Pirates on Saturday, and then Sunday at Albany to take on the Devils. Nino, we couldn't help but think about you last week. The World Junior Hockey Championship was going on. Switzerland took on the Russian squad in a very, very important hockey game. Of course, it went to extra time, and we couldn't help but think back to the overtime goal you scored in Canada against Team Russia a few years back. First of all, did you get an opportunity to watch that Switzerland-Russia game? And second of all, how much do you still think back to that goal that you scored against the Russians?
I mean, obviously, I was trying to follow as much as I can with the Swiss team, and I think they had a great tournament. They unfortunately lost, I think, 4 times either way in penalty and shootout or in overtime. So they definitely had a good tournament, but at the end of the day, they weren't quite lucky enough to go further. But of course, I always look back and that tournament in Saskatoon, and I think that's definitely a huge reason where I am as of right now. I think it's definitely a tournament which I will never forget.
I'm guessing that you had a number of friends still, a number of guys that you know that played in that tournament for Switzerland.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a few guys. I mean, Mirka Muller, he's going to be drafted available right now, I think, this year, and I think he has had a very good tournament, and there are also a few other guys which are playing in the overseas over here for the junior leagues, and yeah, I think they had like I said, they had a great tournament, and yeah.
Well, you go back a number of years, and I was saying this recently, that I don't know that there's been a country out there that has improved as much in international hockey in the last 10 to 15 years as Switzerland has. And, I give a lot of credit to Ralph Krueger for what he was doing at the national team level. Of course, he'll step in and get his first NHL head coaching opportunity here coming up with the Edmonton Oilers, and he's looking forward to that. But he really helped out Swiss hockey. It used to be about goalies, and that was about it. I mean, you had Mark Streit, David Abisher, Marty Gerber, players like that, of course, Jonas Hiller these days. But now it's about Nino Niederreiter. It's about Sven Berchi. It's about so many different players out there. Lucas Spiza, of course. Tell us about the way that Swiss hockey has matured, it seems like, in the last 10 to 15 years or so.
Like you said, I mean, Ralph Krueger definitely did a huge part of that, and now it's with the new era with John Simpson. I think he's going to try to do the same thing than he has done, but of course he was definitely a huge impact for Swiss hockey, and with the development, with the Swiss league got better, I think everything definitely went the right direction, and I think Switzerland is always good for having one great game at least at the tournament, which wasn't. I think it definitely was a big turnaround was in the Olympic Games when they beat Canada 2-0. So I always like to go back on that when I saw it. It was just felt something like, hey, there's something possible. We're not too far away from beating big countries like Canada or USA or Russia. And I think that's definitely something which showed us all that something could be possible one day. And now I think we're definitely in the right track and just trying to keep going on that.
Well, believe me, it's a loss that Canada still remembers as well, because it was obviously with the whole world watching back then. Nino Niederreiter of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers and New York Islanders is joining us here. And going back to your junior days in Portland, Mike Johnston, of course, the head coach there, has had a great deal of success. This time round, Seth Jones is leading Portland, and once again, they've got an opportunity to win the Western Hockey League championship now with Travis Green behind the bench. Tell us how Portland and playing with the Winterhawks really prepared you for the stage that you're at right now, Nino.
Oh, I was definitely very thankful that I had a chance to play for Portland Winterhawks organization. They did a great job with the organization, which they came a long way. I think they didn't reach the playoffs for a couple of years before. They got like Johansson, myself, and Taylor Aronson, and a bunch of the players. They got in and made a great group of guys, and we got to the playoffs. And then after that, we had a chance to go even to the finals, and now they're 2 times in the finals again. And I mean, they did a hell of a job. And I mean, I had a chance to work with those 2 coaches for 2 years, and I think that they definitely got me here where I am right now.
Scott Pellerin and Eric Boganicki and the coaching staff, how have they helped your game this time around here in the American Hockey League?
I mean, they're both a great coaches. They helped me a lot. They gave me had a chance they gave me kind of the confidence back with playing more minutes, and it's definitely been a chance to work with both of them day in and day out, and they helped me definitely a lot.
Can you put into perspective what the intensity has been like in the AHL with so many NHLers down in the American Hockey League, if you will? A number of those guys going up to the National Hockey League once again. You might be getting the call here, I would suspect, here within the next couple of days to report to the island once again with New York as well. Can you tell us what the intensity level was like in the American Hockey League during this first couple of months of the pro campaign?
I mean, I had a chance to play last year 6 games for Bridgeport Sound Tigers, but it feels definitely like it was a better league this year than it was those 6 games I played, which was still early in the season, so I kind of don't know how it was last year, but it definitely seems to me like it is a very good league, and it's definitely a grind, and you have to just grind it out, and sometimes you have 3 games in 3 nights, and that's definitely the toughest thing.
Well, I tell you,
done this year so far.
Yeah, I tell you what, Nino, it's been fun to watch you produce like you have with Bridgeport this season. You've earned the opportunity certainly to get back to the National Hockey League in the very, very near future here to go with the New York Islanders. Thank you very much for your time. We're appreciative of it, and best of luck against Providence coming up on Friday at Providence, or best of luck at training camp with New York, whatever comes first.
Thank you for having me, and thank you very much.